Hi, so this is our multimedia presentation by Imagawa and me, Jenna. So the first source is the speech at the United Nations, delivered by Malala Yousafzai on 12 July 2013. So shown here is a clip of her speech. She highlights many aspects of her difficult fight for freedom in her home country of Pakistan.
Malala Day is not my day. Today is the day of every woman, every boy, and every girl who have raised their voice for their rights. So here I stand. One girl among many. I speak not for myself, but for those without voice can be heard. On the 9th of October 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought that the bullet would silence us, but they failed. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. I do not even hate the Talib who shot me. Even if there is a gun in my hand and he stands in front of me, I would not shoot him. Be peaceful and love everyone. We realize the importance of our voice when we are silenced. In the same way, when we were in Swat, the north of Pakistan, we realized the importance of pens and books when we saw the guns.
So this brings me to our response to the prompt. When, if ever, are limits on freedom necessary? We believe that limits on freedom are necessary only when others are at risk, because allowing people the freedom to do as they wish should never come at the cost of others. So one quote from her speech is, "We realize the importance of our voices only when we are silenced." She mentions how the Taliban attempted to silence and oppress specifically women and children in the name of Islam. She condemned this oppression and she fought so that those in her country who were silenced could have a voice to speak with and demand the right to education, as is their basic freedom too. As silencing others infringes on the basic freedom humans should have, those who attempt to do so should not be given the ability to do so. And in denying these groups freedom to silence or hurt others, many innocent lives and their own freedoms are in turn protected.
When, if ever, are limits on freedom necessary? Limits on freedom. Limiting someone's freedom may sound ridiculous until you realize laws and world regulations limits one's freedom. However, this is for the better of the society as a whole, as most laws are meant to protect its citizens. For example, without limiting the freedom of people, criminals are free to do anything, including harming others. So, limiting freedom is only necessary when people are at risk. Some advice to those who will serve time in prison by Nazim Hikmet. Some advice to those who will serve time in prison is a short poem describing Nazim's personal experiences in prison. He was repeatedly sent to prison for his beliefs of supporting leftist causes and communism. Throughout the poem, he uses metaphors to advise to never give up and ways to survive. On the right is a photo of Nazim Hikmet. In the poem, the author writes, "You're thrown inside for not giving up hope in the world," explaining of some kind of resistance to the government. This line can show that even if when standing up for your beliefs, laws are made specifically to restrict one's actions, resistance of government can lead to many risks of others. In this case, Nazim is writing about his personal events. This line is about when he was thrown into jail for appealing for communism in Turkey, an anti-communist country. There should be limits on government's freedom, as freedom of speech should be a right. However, Hikmet's actions may incite a harmful ideology to others, making the country of Turkey in risk. In conclusion, freedom can or should be limited for both sides. In the poem, The author gives a lot of advice when in prison: to wait for letters inside, to sing sad songs, or to lie awake all night staring at the ceiling is sweet, but dangerous. This advises to limit yourself from doing these actions as they can be dangerous to your health. Limiting your own freedom to prevent risks is also important, especially when in prison. When are limits on freedom necessary? In conclusion, limits on freedom are necessary when people are in risk of danger. In the poem, Some Advice to Those Who Will Serve Time in Prison explains some of the times when limits are necessary and the risks that come when they are not limited. Laws and regulations do limit your freedom, but most are to protect its citizens from harm.
Our third source is Malala Yousafzai's interview with Diane Sawyer, in which she describes in greater detail of her experiences and her battles.
Malala Yousafzai, who loved her little home and loved her school, when out of the shadows came the Taliban, the radical fundamentalist men who banned girls' schools, bombed them, threw acid at the students. They terrorized the town with corpses in the street, flogging women publicly. But somehow, Malala never lost her powerful certainty that girls also deserve a full life.
They cannot stop me. I will get my education if it is in home, school, or any place.
So as you can see, the Taliban had the power and therefore the freedom to exert this oppression on Yousafzai and those like her. So this led to the immense terror and suffering of innocents who just wanted to exercise their freedom to education, as mentioned in the video. Freedom to do as one wishes, no matter the reason, is unacceptable if the result is that others are harmed or at risk. Thank you for listening to our presentation.